Ethan may only be a child, but he's about to do something many adults wouldn't ever consider. He's about to risk his life. Ethan is at his grandfather's rural property where cattle would not be out of place. But these are not your average cattle. Ethan's grandfather, Dwayne, raises about 40 Watusi cattle on his Utah ranch. Putting a 10-year-old within reach of an animal of this size and temperament is a risk. But for Dwayne and Ethan, it is a calculated risk. Also known as the cattle of kings, an average Watusi weighs around 1,000 pounds, and their horns are the largest and most dramatic of any breed of cattle. That's exactly what makes them one of the most dangerous. Even Dwayne is wary.
I can get a little bit closer, but this cow's getting ready to have a calf, and I know her. I get halfway over there, she's gonna chase me out. That cow there will just take her baby and run. This new baby here, her mother would probably let us go up to her, but they are threatening because they're showing you. When they have a baby, you respect that, okay? You do not play with their babies. We play with one here because we know this cow. I mean, she was bottle raised. These cows here, you know that they're not gonna let you play with their baby. These cattle through the years, because of a lot of times the predators that are in Africa, the hyenas, okay? The mothers have become very, very protective. This little cow behind us, she's showing you, she does not want you to play with her baby. And so as protective as the mothers are, the bulls are really docile. They don't care. You can take that baby, but with the mama, you're not gonna play with it.
So why does Dwayne let his grandson climb into a pen with one of these potentially lethal beasts? It seems a common theme among owners of dangerous animals. Familiarity breeds trust.
This little cow's name is Tina, and she was bottle raised, okay? And that's why she's so gentle. My grandson Ethan here, he raised her on a bottle. This is his cow. And she just had a little baby calf just 3 days ago. Do you want to catch the calf, Ethan? Now, you can see the little horns are already starting right here. You can see some real good growth on them as a year old. They'll be a year old. They should be out, you know, anywhere from 8 to 10 inches long and have a base on them, probably like that.
The breed does well in the Utah climate, and it is prized for its good looks, its robust and drought-hardy nature, and for those massive horns.
We started raising these in 1982. We've learned a lot about the Watusi, and you know, actually, a few years ago, we sent semen back to South Africa, where these animals originally come from, to get new bloodlines into a herd over there. We've understood that in Africa, they're after, you know, it's a thing of economics. Great big horns, great big long horns is harder for the animal to travel, to feed. And so they're in Africa, they're breeding the horns smaller. Yet in America, because we have an abundance of feed, we want our horns bigger.
And Dwayne certainly succeeded in breeding cattle with bigger horns. The world's largest, in fact. Dwayne's bull, Woody, earned him a place in the Guinness Book of Records for the largest horn circumference ever recorded. Woody's left horn far outsized its right-hand counterpart, growing to a massive circumference of 40.5 inches. Although it didn't cause him any pain, it weighed so much that Woody would often rest it on the ground. Dwayne has also managed his herd to maintain the breed's distinctive markings.
If you'll notice the markings on this cow, she'll have this, She'll have the straight red over the back and the white down the sides. This guy will hold still. There are pictures of Watusi cattle on Egyptian walls. They date back 7,000 years, and they have this same design on them. And you won't find any other cattle that's got this design on them unless they've got some Watusi bloodlines in them. In Africa, you'll see a lot of the dark red colors. In the tribes, the kings, they liked the white Watusi. And a white Watusi is very valuable to them.
The herds were seen as a status symbol and played a significant role in tribal life.
In Africa, the more Watusis you own, it's kind of one of those things, I have more than you, or you know, I have a whole bunch of Watusis, and it's kind of like money in the bank in Africa. The size of the horns are intimidating. I think in Africa, if a hyena come up or a lion came to a Watusi cow, you know, they're going to look at that. They're going to look at their defense first, you know, and I'm sure depending on what would happen over there, you know, but through the years, the Watusis have developed that real protective instinct to their young.
The Watusi's giant horns also help to keep it cool. Hundreds of tiny blood vessels cover the horns close to the surface, allowing heat to escape the body.
Where these cows originate from, they take the heat very well. And in the summertime, they'll slick right off, and they've got kind of an oily skin to them, which again, through the years, they've developed kind of a natural pesticide. You can actually rub them and brush them and smell the oil on your hands. They are a hardy cattle. In the wintertime here, because we have so much cold, we make sure that they have all the feed they want to eat, and we provide shelter for them. They don't have a lot of hair on their ears, and they don't have a lot of long hair like a normal cattle would. But you put fat on them, put some meat on them, and they do better.
The majority of incidents involving cattle occur on ranches and other sites where people are working with livestock. Hundreds of people are injured and 22 killed each year in the U.S. alone. Knowing the risks of accidents and that the cows can be easily provoked, Dwayne is always mindful of the danger.
There is an element of danger. It's the same as any other animal. You take a beef cow, they're going to protect their baby, okay? Some of them are not going to be as aggressive as others, okay? The same as a dog that just had brand new puppies. Some of them are going to let you play with them puppies, and some of them are not. Again, maybe the breed of a puppy or the breed of a different cattle is going to determine how protective they're going to be with their babies. The Watusis, normally you got to remember that they're protective. You know, you notice how long the horns are and how big they are, and yet you'll notice these cows don't use them as like a spear. I've seen so many little tiny sharp horns do so much damage to people, and yet these bigger horns like this, they'll actually, when they want another cow out of the road, or if they want you out of the road, they'll swing it and use it more like a bat.
While Ethan has never been hurt by his cows, Dwayne himself has learned some important lessons the hard way.
I had my knee replaced, and I got too close to a brand new baby, and the mother beat me to the fence. And she hit me, and all she did was she just hit me and turned around and went back to her baby. And that, you know, that's when I learned I can't move that fast. Stay away.
Like any large creature, no matter how familiar you are with the animal, its unpredictability is an ever-present danger.
The thing you always want to remember is know your animals, they're having babies, and they're protective. We have a couple of new babies over here. The one, the mother took it and left. The other one is a new mother, And she doesn't really mind if you're around her baby, but again, you have to know the animals.
It's obvious Dwayne takes great pride in his unusual herd, and he treats his Watusi with just the amount of respect horns like theirs deserve.
One thing to remember, if I run, you run.
Yes.
Please run slower than I do.